boyfriend, me might have raped me. How should I tell him that I'm not fine? So I've been with my boyfriend for almost a year in a long-distance relationship. When he visited me recently, he started behaving differently. When we were being intimate, at one point I said I was tired and just want to sleep, but he continued, and I had to repeat like 3 times until he finally understood. The next night we were being intimate again, and in the middle of it, he put at least half his D in my ass without asking me. I told him it hurts and to take it out like 2 times, and he just didn't move and only pulled out when I started to move away. The pain from it lasted for like a week. The next night he asked that he wants to do anal, and was trying to put it in before waiting for my answer, which was no. In the moment I said it was fine, but now as I keep thinking more about it, it's not fine. I feel like I can't trust him. He only stayed like 5 days, and since he left I haven't brought up the subject again. And he should have asked. He wouldn't have liked it if I put my fingers in his ass without asking. And I don't know what to do, because I'm not fine. 1. He doesn't respect you or your boundaries. He anally raped you. This isn't a conversation. This is break up immediately type of stuff. Edit. Also I'm sorry this happened to you, you deserve better. Please look out for yourself. 2. It'll be a hard conversation, as you're already doubting yourself, but it's for the best. Listen to those of us not clouded by emotion or attachment to him. You can't fix this, and shouldn't try. He's probably watched too much porn that he wanted to try and was too impatient to wait for an answer. You've become an object to his desensitized mind. 3. Break up with him. Block him. You don't have to tell him anything. What he has done is rape and horrible. 4. Your boyfriend seems to have an issue with consent. Obviously when you're having sex you don't ask, "Oh, can I touch you here?" Every turn you make a move because it would ruin it, but if the person says no, then you should listen to them. He evidently does not respect you and values his own getting off more than your feelings. The only solution is to dump him. I am very sorry to say that, but if he cannot respect you in the bedroom, he doesn't respect you outside of it, and he is unworthy of you. 5. No matter what, he needs a lesson in consent. My personal advice is that I don't think you should stay with someone who does this. 6. He's sweet so he can do rapey things to you and you'll overlook the massive red flags. That is what he's doing. Rape. 7. Unfortunately, I've been through this with my long-term ex, BF 5 years ago. I had been raped when I was 17 and he knew that, and yet still he didn't listen to me when I said I wasn't ready yet for anal. I cried when it happened, and afterwards we actually finished with vaginal because I felt sorry for him, as he felt guilty after I started crying. We didn't speak for a week after it happened, even though we lived together. I spoke about it with one friend, and realized I only spoke to her because she would let me come to my own decision about breaking up. After she and I talked to my BF to break up. More things were wrong in that relationship, but this was the last straw. I can't imagine things are all fine and dandy in your relationship if this is what he did to you. If you can't find other wrong behaviors in him at the moment, you will after you break up with him. Either way, a man that repeatedly in a few days has crossed your boundaries will never respect you. You are not safe with him. I hope you know you deserve someone who does respect you and who loves you. Someone who would hate the thought of hurting you and would never disrespect you. That's the bare minimum for love and respect. I found a better man when I learned what I'm worth. We're not together anymore, but man did he raise the bar for future men. You will find someone better eventually as well, girl. 8. Yeah, never see him again. That's definitely rape. 9. You know, I've been married a while. Love my wife. You know what thought never once passes my mind when going to sleep? This. 10. The man who was my husband at the time did essentially the same thing to me, but continued until I was screaming in pain. He later told me that he thought I was enjoying it, because I am on the more vocal side when in bed. Ultimately, I left him because I could not trust him with my well-being on many levels, but this was a huge one. Leave this relationship now, before it gets worse. 11. Darling, that is not okay at all. If this post is you hoping to validate your feelings, me and bunch of other people will give it, regardless of your, hopefully exps, feelings. Doing something like that requires mutual consent, not just one person doing it and excusing it afterwards. If it was an accident, which can happen in passionate moments, he would be apologetic for hurting you, but he's not. So the question is not how you tell him he hurt you and you're not okay, but how you set your boundaries and find people who don't cross them. 12. This is pretty much everything I want to say to you, op. I'm really sorry both people in favor of you breaking up and people minimizing this situation are being so blunt here in the comments, but it's surely important that you break up with this person without figuring it out. I am personally at a loss about how to do so safely because this man you're dating obviously has problems, but I would contact a trusted older person or a women's group and ask them for advice counseling if you weren't raised by people who can help you set a boundary like this. It's okay to ask for help about how to deal with the situation, and Reddit is a good start, but you're probably also going to get a lot of awful comments. This is technically violence regardless of how well he treats you, and he needs to understand that, but the first priority is your safety. Always. 13. This is all counts of wrong. He does not repeat you or you boundaries, and frankly sounds like he's too immature to have sex. He sexually assaulted you definitely. Where you go from here is up to you. He's not a child, consent should not be rocket science to him. 14. You tell him that he raped you, and you see what his reaction is. It's not okay to shove something in someone's butt without their express consent. Especially without lube and warming up. If he's like, "Oh my God, you're right, how do I fix this?" then you can figure it out from there. If he's like, "No, I didn't," then you immediately leave. 15. That could be dangerous. I think her best bet is leaving and blocking and ignoring him. It's going to be so extremely emotionally terribly hard to press charges it honestly probably isn't even worth pursuing. He will probably come after her in more ways than one if she uses the word rape on him. I just don't want to see Op get hurt anymore. Damage was done and she needs to get gone before a bad situation gets worse. 16. I'm so sorry, he raped you. I know it can be hard to see as it is someone you care for. How could they do something so callous? Protect yourself, break up, never meet this person again. 17. So not only did he not ask before penetrated you, he didn't ask because knew you wouldn't consent, so he knew what he was doing was rape. This is, at a minimum, breakup material. 18. For the record, it is normal to initially feel like it was fine, but then realize that you don't actually feel that way. It takes time to process. 19. Girl, gtfo. Fucking leave. He feels entitled, which he is most certainly not, and he doesn't respect you. None of what he did is consensual. You need to block him and cut off all contact. I'm so sorry that happened to you and know that your experience is valid. I had a very similar situation to you many years ago and I left that ex for that reason and many more, so this hits home. Please seek therapy and talk to someone, friends that you trust. 20. He sodomized you. Period. Point blank. He's fully aware of what he did, and you should break up with him. He doesn't respect you, boundaries, or consent. What he did is not okay. 21. There is literally zero reasons to talk to your rapist. It wouldn't even give you closure since what he says can never be a genuine apology. 22. He completely disrespected you not giving consent for doing that with you. He's somebody you should end all contact with as fast as you can. He's selfish and you are worthy of somebody who respects your boundaries and who won't do things you don't want to do. Please choose for yourself and dump this guy. 23. Leave him. He knew what he did. He should have heard you. He should have noticed you in pain and not listening to No. Once and continuing constitutes as rape.